what's up guys, it's Rage Gamer. So I did do an update on the Arctic cooling coolers for the VGAs. Turns out I'm kind of a moron, kinda, sorta. So in my last video, I talked about how the spacer specifically, I couldn't get it mounted. I couldn't get the actual cooler on the VGA board, partly because I'm an idiot, and secondly because the spacers, they came with these little 3M adhesive things for these little spacers. Well, the first case came with defective spacers. They were only sticky on one side. I was able to pull them off the actual film, and it's like a clear sticky adhesive, but the other side was not adhesive at all, and it would not stick to the back plate. So I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get these damn things mounted. I got very mad. I was pretty frustrated with the whole thing in general, so I ended up just tossing them in the closet, man, and then I posted a video on YouTube, and I was just pissed off that I couldn't get them on. But you know, clear heads eventually came ahead, and I don't know why I didn't do it the first time, probably because I was so pissed off about it, but I didn't open the second package. So I saw some comments in the last video. I was like, you know, everyone says it's pretty easy. Let me give this a second try. So I pulled them out. I opened up the second cooler that I did not open the first time, and the little circular adhesive tape for the spacers worked like a charm. It was not defective. It's sticky on both sides. I put the spacers on the back plate. It literally took me 8.5 minutes to mount the cooler onto the VGA card itself. So then I felt pretty stupid, and so here's my video of humility, because I'm just a dumbass. Anyway, I got it on like 10 minutes, but I still had the issue with the original cooler with the not being able to actually attach or adhere the little black spacers onto the back plate. So what I ended up doing, and I don't know why I didn't think about doing this the first time, is I actually just used some non-conductive MX2 thermal paste and just put just a tiny bit on the spacer, and that's actually enough to stick to the back plate for me to get the VGA board on top of it and then screw it down. I mean, once you get the spacers on the back plate and you actually glue them on there, it's just 4 screws, man, and it just pop, 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 puts it right in there. So anyway, so I guess I have to do update to the video, my pissed off video about the Arctic cooler, Accelero twin turbo cooler working. I did get them mounted on there. I'm gonna show you guys here in a second and show you what they look like. They did fit in the case. It's very, very tight though, because I do have 2 of them. And you know, basically just give you some numbers. As far as temperatures, the top card is a bit hotter. The top card is running in at Battlefield 3 full time, like 3 hours of gaming. The absolute hottest my temperature got on the top card was 72 degrees, which is completely applicable and well within the range of the card. I was hitting probably close to 85 or high 80s prior to that with the top card. Now obviously the top card sits on top of the bottom card, so it's going to be sucking more hot air, which is why it runs hotter. The bottom card, however, is running at 58 degrees on full load, and I actually put a heftier overclock on the cards as well. But you know, that's really good, but that's not what I care about. Obviously you guys know that I care about was silence. The Arctic cooling Accelero twin turbo 2 coolers are absolutely silent. They got nothing on the reference coolers. Completely quiet. In fact, the only fans I can hear now are my 2 top 140 millimeters. I didn't even know they made noise before, because with the reference model coolers on my cards, sound like a freaking jet engine. And so overall picture, I'm an idiot, but I did figure it out. I got them in there. I felt like I needed to post another video to rectify the situation, since I kind of went off on it and said it was stupid. But nonetheless, they are on. They do work. My temps are outstanding. Again, they could still run at 80 degrees. I wouldn't care, because I just care about the audible. I needed them to be quiet, which they are now, which is just so much better. So I'm pretty happy. So I'm going to take that off the tripod. I'm going to show you guys the install, and then I want to show you guys the reference coolers and kind of what surprised me about them. Alright guys, so here's the coolers. They actually fit. I didn't have to do any modification at all. Got the crossfire bridge in with no problem, as you can see right there. But I do want to show you guys the amount of room I have is crazy. I have no idea if you can see that or not clearly, but between between the actual fan shroud and then second card, I mean, we're talking millimeter of distance, which is why obviously the top card is pulling a lot of heat off of that second card. So, but nonetheless, you guys can see how large the heatsink is. I mean, it runs the entire length of the video card pretty much, both of them, which is why it's so much cooler. Surprisingly, with these being open air coolers, my CPU running the same. Temperatures haven't changed at all. That's probably credit to the Antec H20920. That thing is pretty phenomenal for me. Obviously, it's not as effective as traditional water cooling, but it does keep my CPU very cool, and I'm more than happy with them. But here's the look at the Accelero twin turbo 2s in the system. They fit fine. It is a tight fit, but I knew that going in because it is a 3-slot cooler. So I mean, I barely have clearance, so my case does look a lot more crowded now. But as you can see, the coolers stick out, you know, about an inch above the video card, so it's a pretty massive cooler. It's big, so they need that 3-slot, but they work great, man. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm just glad I was able to get beyond my ego and actually be able to install these bastards. So I'm so happy. I have no outlook on a video card upgrade. I just did a test on Unigen 2.5. Again, I re-overclocked the cards a little bit more once I got the coolers on there, but not much. I'm looking at I think a core clock at 950. I think I had it at 980, but it wasn't quite stable. So I went to 950, and then I went 1200 on the memory, and my Unigen benchmark score was 1719 points. With the Crossfire, of course. So I don't know where that compares with your guys' rigs or what they're going, but that's on 1080p resolution. I did 16 times anti-stropic filter and then a 4 times AA. I find that any more than 4 times on Unigen, my numbers go down quite a bit. But 4 times, it looks good. It runs good, runs great. Again, my score was 1719. So those of you guys are interested in that, that's what my score is on that. But otherwise, got them in. No more bitching for me about Arctic Cooling's coolers, because once you figure the spacers out, and once I figured it out that I don't know what I was thinking, but once I got the spacers on there and got them adhered to the back plate, it was literally just attaching 4 screws at the very top of the card, and that's it, man. And they work great. They're stable. They're solid. I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna show you guys the stock coolers once I pulled them off, because I was a little surprised. So, all right, guys. So here I took the top shroud off. This is my XFX 6870. Here's kind of what it looks like with the shroud on. You guys can see from this one. So here's this is. I pulled this off because I was curious to see like what the hell is going on in this thing. And this is what I discovered. This tiny ass heatsink. This is probably like the smallest heatsink I've ever seen. That's it. This is what they put on reference coolers. I mean, I don't know, maybe some of you guys already knew this, but I just, man, I was not aware of what kind of coolers. I mean, it makes sense why they're so freaking loud. So essentially, you have your cooler sitting in here. This turbine fan blows, and it blows through the fan this way and out the back of your case. And then, of course, the shroud's over here. But for as big as the shroud is, right, you would think that they would put a much more applicable cooler on these cars. It's just amazing how small these are. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. And, you know, they just sit right in there, and that's it, man. I mean, to look at it now is just crazy when you compare it to the Arctic coolers. I mean, you're talking probably 3 times the size, because it's a bit more than doubles the size. I mean, you're talking Arctic cooler is above the actual VGA card and much longer. This is it. This is all they cool. I mean, you're talking 3 copper pipes, which I guess they're copper, so that's good to dissipate heat away from the GPU. But you're talking about fins. There's only, you know, maybe 30 fins there, 25, and that's supposed to dissipate all the heat from the GPU. I mean, you're talking about cards that are already running at 80 degrees Celsius, and I mean, what more do you expect from a tiny ass cooler like this? So it's a good lesson for me.